Hello, everyone. Welcome to Cacao with me. And today I'm sitting in conversation with Mikhail, a tattoo artist and shop owner in NYC, and also a photographer and a piano player. And honestly, someone whose work goes way beyond what you see on the surface. And I know Mikhail's journey moves through different worlds, starting from Moscow to Florida to New York and across different forms of expression. And I think, be it tattooing, music, or photography, all of them require presence, sensitivity, and a relationship with time, human body, and a rhythm. So, what I'm really interested in exploring today is how creativity shows in all of these different forms and how energy, intention, and consciousness moves through the hands. So, welcome, Mikhail. I'm really grateful you're here. And I would love if you want to introduce yourself or say anything additional to what I said.
Well, whatever you said has been great for sure. Yeah. I
Awesome.
grew up in Moscow, lived there, then started traveling, been to Europe a lot, to a lot of countries like Germany, Spain, Finland, Norway. And then I came to States to see a tattoo culture because I was tattooing in Moscow already. Wanted to see what the culture were, what the tattoo shops are, and came to New York first, and then traveled down south, and then ended up staying in Florida
Hmm.
for a little bit. And then after that, I moved back to New York. But the plan was not to stay in the States. I never really thought of living in New York. I don't know. Things kind of happened.
Are you ready to ever leave?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I would leave right now in a heartbeat, to be honest with you. I mean, the city does drive you, but the city exhausts you. It's like the mix of things. I think big cities like New York, LA, because everything's so expensive. Like me as an artist, I wanna create, but when it comes to a financial side,
Yeah.
it's hard to balance things because you have to pay for things and things are expensive. So it's a little tough to live here and create because it turns into a job when you have a certain number you have to make every month. But yeah, I mean, if there'll be no war in my country and all other stuff that's going on, I would rethink probably where I want to live. But I mean, I've been here. I've had clients for many years and a lot of ongoing projects. So that's why I'm here. Because
Yeah.
for me to go somewhere else, I'll have to build a client base or find a different job. Unfortunately, because once you live somewhere for a while, if you go to a new place, you'll have to run ads and build the clientele from scratch, from zero. And for me, like at this age, I think I want more stability. Uh,
Hmm. I mean, if I'm just putting it out there, if you really want to move, I think with what you've built so far, it's not going to be like you have to start from scratch at all because you already have an established name and your work speaks for itself. I don't even think you need to be running ads or anything. You're talking like a novice when you have one of the best tattoo shops in NYC. So I think I don't know, I'm just pushing a little bit on that. Like, do you think it's a limiting mindset or just being comfortable?
I mean, people see from a different perspective, I guess, but whatever I look at myself, I don't see myself from the outside. So it's more of the way I feel, I guess. And I have my own insecurities and fear and stuff like that. So um that's that's why I said it.
And this is why we're having this conversation. You're allowed to express yourself exactly as you want to, but I see your potential. So I'm just like, reality check. I think you would do perfectly fine wherever you decide to go. So tell me a little bit about. So you told you moved to the States to observe the tattoo culture, and then you worked as an artist at some shops before you decided I'm gonna open my own shop. So how was that
Yeah.
journey?
So I did work in Florida. I worked at a street shop that had a lot of walk-ins, and it was
Mm-hmm.
When I first started working there, I was very busy, like very, very busy. Probably do like 5, 6 people a day because I came there when it was a spring break and I saw a lot of people just going to Florida, basically to Miami, during that time. And because of the Miami Ink show. Miami Ink was the first show about tattooing, and it made it so much more popular because it was on a live TV and all over the world
Okay.
in different countries. So a lot of people would travel to Miami from South American countries and get tattooed there. So it was basically an interesting time. It was very busy. Then I didn't like living in Miami because it's
Mm.
seasonal, and from probably February till May or till June, it's busy, and then after that, it gets to really bad weather. So when I first lived through it, it was kind of very depressing because a lot of times you cannot even leave the apartment. It rains so much. And after a first year, I was looking for a move, so I was thinking about either Los Angeles or New York, but New York was a little bit more comfortable because closer if I need to fly back home, and then more of like seasons, which I grew up in
Yeah.
seasons and better for my body. Chose New York, flew there for a couple interviews, and then after working there for a year, I mean, working around like in a huge brand and when there's a lot of egos and a lot of
Mm.
drama. It was really hard. I wanted to open something where I could work by myself and be comfortable and have more of creative space because me personally, like even at this time, I would prefer maybe to work for somebody, not to have my own business.
Really?
Yes. Because less stress and
Mm.
less to think about the bills and stuff like that. At this point, I just think I prefer to come and work and get paid and not to think about all the logistics and the bills and stuff like that. Put more of creativity
So,
into something else. But I do see a lot of shops with big names. It's like artistic people, there's drama, there's
mm,
competition. Working in environments like that, it's a little hard to grow or to do something great. So
yeah.
that's why I see a lot of people shifting nowadays to private studios and working on their own. But yeah, I mean, the idea of the shop was just, I mean, I opened it, I guess, in the right time because it was like a golden age for tattooing from 2016 till 2019 probably. Was not many shops, people were getting tattoos, and it was really fun. I think the industry changed so much right now. I can talk about it for hours actually. It really changed in the past year and a half, 2 years. And I think also the generation that was getting tattoos that is
Mm,
probably right now from 35 to 48 is the people that got tattoos as generation as kids. And
mm,
I think right now, life in America, everything became so much more expensive and stressful, and especially with the new president. And I think a lot of those people are a little tight with the money and don't want to spend anything on tattoos because for them it's either their kids and security versus just
yeah.
getting more tattoos. But I think the Gen Z or younger people, they're not getting what we would get as tattoos. They're just getting small,
Yeah.
uh, patchy things,
Yeah.
uh, indecisive. And I think that's what the industry shifted toward in general. If you see like the new New York stuff, when there's house parties, people get a tattoo artist there and somebody makes cyber or all this kind of 90s tribal translated into more,
Minimalist.
yeah, more of like tattoos with a super fine line. I even had somebody that I tattooed a guy, he's a model, and some of his friends came in and they had a tattoo artist that did little tattoos, and he had a small tiny film roll tattooed on his arm, which all faded and fell out, looked kind of fucked up.
Yeah.
Uh, that's what tattooing kind of became, in my opinion, overall. But I mean, we'll see. Things change. The world is dynamic. Things changing every couple years. Before we lived with this, and then it's something else. I think right now with the AI, people want more of unique and human experience, and um, there's like a huge shift from things that are AI and computer generated and other stuff that is handmade and custom.
Um, I know some artists are like, I will design. You just give me your concept or your thoughts. So, how do you work? Are you open to your client bringing the design? And do you see a lot of AI generated designs, which you know is not going to look good when you tattoo it?
I'll tell you what, the last half a year, every single person brings an AI generated design.
Mm,
95% of people, because a lot of
mm,
people are not creative, and with the AI, they can
yeah.
ask AI to generate something of what they want and put it on their body, which in a sense kills that creativity
Mm,
because AI makes everything too rendered and
yeah.
everything too perfect. I think what I've heard somewhere, they said, God made things not perfect, and those things are godly, and
Yeah.
the beauty is in not in perfection. It's in the little mistakes, in little things. But AI, it's all too plastic. It doesn't have a soul. It doesn't have a feeling. I mean, some stuff is cool. Yeah, it's fun to use it as a tool in a sense when you need to do research
Mm.
or certain things that there is no imagery and it doesn't exist. I personally, I hate that you go on Pinterest and a lot of websites and a lot of things are just flooded with AI imagery. It just feels
Yeah.
like I don't know. It feels like a poison, like a toxic thing
It is.
in
Yeah.
a sense, because I was just talking to somebody. If you think about a virus, if you think about something bad in your body, you try to kill it, but it always has a DNA or cells that are try to um change
Stick on.
itself
Yeah.
inside.
Mm,
So,
modify.
like,
Yeah.
the medication or antibiotics doesn't kill it.
Yeah.
And that's what I think a little bit about AI, that is always learning from what we're teaching it and changing. And
I mean, people are relying on it though heavily. I feel like everyone's brain is decaying.
I mean, I'll tell you a thing. When I lived in Russia, I don't know how it is in Russia. I haven't been there for a while, but I still think there's more of normal things there and like
Mm,
values and the way the parents teach the kids and
mm,
stuff like that. But
yeah.
I came here and I stopped reading books. I mean, I
Mm,
try to push myself to read books. I stopped writing because everything is so much about the money in
mm,
American culture and
mm,
such a fast pace, always anxiety, always like you're being told you have to make it. And sometimes I take a pen and I start writing, and I'm like, I forgot how to write because I haven't been writing for more than 10 years or 15
mm.
years. Um, and I push myself to read books, but I rarely see anybody that has been reading. Like, I can ask somebody, "What's the last book that you've read?" And nobody reads the books. They would drive a car and put some audio and listen to a book.
I hate that people have shifted to that because the whole experience is so different when you hold an actual physical book and sit down, slow down to read. I don't know. It makes me a little sad that people have really shifted from reading because I feel like it's one activity that really grounds you.
I try to change myself, but it's more of like a lifestyle here. It's something. It's hard to explain. Like, I grew up and developed somewhere else in a different culture, in a different world. But once you're somewhere, you're slowly
Yeah.
adjusting because the reality around you, the lifestyle is just pushing you to be a certain way. It's not that I want to be that way, but it's more like, yeah. I mean, it's great, in my opinion, to travel and see the world, see the differences,
Yeah.
see different cultures and the way people are in Europe, in Asia, in Middle East, and everywhere. Like, certain things are similar, certain things are different. It's good to have that because I feel like when people
Yeah.
stay in one city, haven't seen much, or
Mm.
just travel for vacation and stay in their resort, they're narrowing themselves on or their perception or their mind. But in the same time, I think being in a specific environment, it kind of changes you. Like New York, I think for sure changed me a lot. And I some days I just feel like I lost my maybe piece of my soul because I feel like it just fast pace and what's that for in the end?
I mean, I would feel that overstimulation as much as I loved the city and, access to all this food and entertainment and anything you want really. But I feel like the city's energy is so high that you get constantly overstimulated. And I'm just like so drained. And I think that's when you really need practices like, writing down or breathing or whatever. I do think that it is so important, especially in your field, because you're literally exchanging energy with your clients every single day. And actually, I would love to know your experience with that. I'm sure when you work with your clients, there's a lot of energy exchange because you work with your hands and you spend all this time with them. Do you feel with every tattoo there's some exchange of energy happening? And is there anything you do to protect yourself and keep yourself grounded through all of that?
Yeah, I think everybody is more than just a physical human being. Everybody's spiritual being in the world, and everybody carries the energy. And when a lot of people come and get a tattoo, I get to know them. I get the life shared with me and what they're going for, their experiences. So it feels sometimes even like I'm a therapist that is
Mm.
listening to somebody's story. It's for sure is an energy exchange. And
Yeah.
sometimes you do have to protect yourself, otherwise
Yeah.
you come home and you feel drained because somebody is sitting close to you to your energy, to your center.
If there is someone who's listening to this and they also work with their hands, is there any practice that you think really helps you keep yourself in a good state of mind versus really getting burned out?
I think walking through nature and reconnecting
Mm.
with nature is a very good thing. I think also doing things with your hands. Like I realized, in general, putting the phone away and just cooking or drawing
Okay.
or doing something with your hands when you turn off your mind, it kind of helps you reconnect, uh, ground yourself, rebalance your energy. But I think for me, maybe walking through the nature, um, has been very helpful reconnecting with nature. I mean, in general, if you feel drained, I think a salt bath is like a good thing to uh just get rid of what you're carrying, like water in general, because we uh our body is just basically 90% of water. So I think being close to the ocean, being close to the water, and being in water in general, that's why there's
Yeah.
certain things that come to from different spiritual practices that involve water, even baptism involved water. But we're water, and water it grounds us. It will rebalance the energy. Another thing, actually, if you know about the sauna, like a Russian banya culture, which
Oh,
they adapted into this world, the sauna, they would build a house from this tree. Basically, if you build a building with no metal or nails, uh, the tree itself cannot burn, and
okay.
the energy with the tree is zero. It's not positive, not negative. So when people go, you go into there and you sweat, but also because it's built from that specific tree, that tree, like it kills the energy. It doesn't matter if it's positive
Wow.
or negative, and it grounds you basically. So you stay there, you sweat it out, and then you go and dip yourself in ice water. But it with that, it kills all the negative, basically, whatever you're
That's
carrying.
amazing.
And it's basically like a spiritual cleanse in a sense. I mean, whatever they do right now is like you sit and sweat it out. Good for your body is temperature differences. You go there and then you go into an ice pool. But there's more into it that our ancestors, like 1,000 years ago, they did it for a little bit of different purpose. Uh,
Yeah.
which is a little bit forgotten uh knowledge that became glamorized through shared experience, and it feels good and it's good for you. There's one little thing that is missing, basically. One
The main
one
part, but yeah.
one one little detail, but it's good for you. But I mean, there's a lot of things. But I think to rebalance the energy is just going and being connected with the nature, and maybe not even being around anyone. Like for me personally, I'm very social, and I prefer to be by myself a certain time. That kind of helps me to rebalance my energy versus just being around people is draining, unless somebody is very much uh their energy aligns with your energy, and you just feel so comfortable.
I mean, I'm very grateful for your energy,
Yeah.
but yeah, some people can absolutely drain you. Okay, all right. So, I don't think we talked about how you got into art in the first place. Was there a specific moment or a realization that, oh my God, I absolutely love creating? And when was that?
I mean, when I was at a first school, we had an art classes, and we would even go to the nature or like museums and just paint as a group.
Nice.
And my older sister did a lot. My older sister has paintings that were sold internationally and stuff like that. But I've done that for a while. And then after I finished school, I went to college for graphic design, and we had a bunch of art classes, and it was like live drawing and stuff like that. It was very fun, but I mean, at a certain part of your life, you want to go and explore. And at that age, I didn't take things serious and didn't know what I gonna be or do, because in Russia, oh, you go to college or university. After that, it's like a military 2 years, and you don't know what you're gonna do in life because. But I've had art classes in college almost every day as composition, design, light drawing and stuff like that. After college, I was doing graphic design for a printing company, but when you work as in an office job, basically whatever the owner boss tells you to do, you have to do. If there's a deadline, there's a lot
Yeah.
of pressure in those things. You can make a couple $1,000s a month just working, designing and doing stuff. But kind of, I hated that environment of being in office, working until late and being told what to do. And I left, and I started doing freelance. I used to do designs for websites and stuff like that. I did that for quite some time, until I probably got tired of it as well. Not much creativity. So I started hiring people to do that and just deal as a owner of the company. And after that, I've met a couple people that were in the tattoo industry and tattooing for a while. Um, and I wanted tattoos, and I always loved the culture. Even in my country, it was not acceptable, and people with tattoos were kind of outlaws, and everybody would say something when they see you with tattoos. But I don't know. I always wanted tattoos and hang out with a bunch of tattoo artists. And then I basically stopped doing the other stuff I was doing, because if you want to do something well, you have to do it a full time. And I lived in the shops in the industry for many years. And when I came to States, I've been in a shop every day. After the shop, we went and hang out, spend time, people who work there. So it's always around the industry. Um, yeah.
Yeah, we already touched a bit about this, but like you said, initially there was a lot of tattoo stigma, and then it moved to, I think everyone wanted to get a tattoo, to now. Do you think people are refraining, or people who used to get tattooed before are now not feeling it anymore?
I'm not quite sure. I think I think in general right now the life got much busier. And I think because tattoos were not accepted for so long in certain areas, like if you take New York or Philly, it was illegal to have tattoo shops here until 2000, 2003.
Oh.
The police made it illegal, and when the area stays like that for a while, when things open up, everybody wants it. When we had pandemic and tattoo shops were closed for 4 or 5 months, I remember opening it up and it was the busiest it's ever been for probably half a year because people
Yeah.
couldn't get tattoos. I think right now, in general, because there's so many tattoo shops,
It's rare to find someone with no tattoos now.
oh, for sure.
Yeah.
I do think the internet and social media and TV brought popularity to it. Um, that's what I think. Because I mean, before I think Miami Ink Show, and I talk about it a lot. It was not widely acceptable, but when you see a lifestyle when they share that on TV, people compare themselves, and then more shows came on, and
Yeah.
you would see a lot of celebrities getting tattoos, and then
Yeah.
you see musicians, and a lot of people try to follow somebody who is talented, and if they see them getting a tattoo, and then it becomes much more acceptable. Because when I finished high school, I was supposed to go to military, and they do like a full test, and I did have a tattoo. And back then, if you have a tattoo, they literally would take you to a psychiatrist,
Oh my
to,
God, no way.
yes, Russia. And
They
if you
just question you, why the hell do you have a tattoo? Is that where?
yes, yes. And the right the right thing you have to say if you want a good profession in the military, you have to say that you regret that you were stupid
Oh,
and you got
okay.
that and you regret getting a tattoo. And you know, a lot of jobs as a pilot for the planes, I don't know how it is right now, but until even 10 years ago, if you have a tattoo, you cannot have a tattoo and be a pilot for the
I
financial.
hope that's not true anymore.
I hope so too.
But
But
what is the reason for it? Like, is there an actual good reason for it, or it's just a
they
stigma?
were saying that if you have a tattoo, you're unstable, as mentally unstable. If you take Russia or post-Soviet countries in general, it basically goes from one extreme to another extreme. And for them, like tattoo is basically putting something on a god's body. But um, even if you open a New Testament, it doesn't say anything about tattoos. Old Testament does, but if you take things for what they are, and if you take a biblical perspective in that the Old Testament said, "Hey, don't have any piercings or any markings on your body because it's worshiping basically spirits." But in the same time, the Old Testament, what people did, they would take a lamb and they would do a sacrifice because we're as a physical body sinners, we have to put our sin into an animal and make a sacrifice to the God.
So
So
fucked up.
that was an Old Testament. And if you read the New Testament, there's nowhere to say that you can or cannot get a tattoo. It's the only thing that says that Christ and came and became that sacrifice for the world. Um, and a lot of people, from what I've seen in extremist confessions, they would take like a part of the whole book and would interpret in their own vision, in their own way, and make
Yeah.
everybody believe that this is what the truth is. But the truth is basically what the book teaches you overall, and you have to read it from beginning to end and understand what it is about. It's sad to see, but
Yeah. Was there any moment where you questioned your path in terms of, being a tattoo artist full time and having a shop?
I think I always do. I mean, we as human beings. You can walk on the right path, but you'll still question it. I always question if I'm at a right space, if I should go back to where I'm from or do something else. But I mean, I think I give it to God's hands for him to guide me and be where I'm supposed to be because I am not sure of a lot of things, and
Yeah.
I would never be sure because I don't see stuff from outside. I only see what I see with my eyes. I don't see the whole perspective from outside of things around me, and I feel like some things happen. There's a reason for it, but uh, in my brain, in my head, I cannot put it together. So
Yeah.
I think whatever is meant to be is meant to be, and I try to have less anxiety and just follow the path because it will work out. I mean, we all have like I do have doubts.
Yeah, I mean, it is difficult to know, right? We're always going to see it from a critical lens because that is the decision we made. Sometimes it's just easier to just leave it to God, surrender, and detach from whatever you expect life to look like. Yeah.
Yep.
How would you say, I mean, it's obviously different to tattoo on a body versus, painting on a canvas, but in what ways do you find it different or similar?
I mean, to paint, you can fix stuff, you can change things. To tattoo, you have to know what you're doing. Otherwise, you need to know the way the skin would react to the needle, and it's a lot of craft, not as much of the creativity that you can do in drawing or painting. I mean, there's a creativity if the client will be open to those things, but tattoo itself is a craft, and there's a lot of things that you have to learn. There's a lot of technicals.
When you see a specific skin type, do you know this needle might not be good for it versus some other needle? Is there anything like that?
Yeah,
Oh, okay, okay. Okay.
but it comes from experience. I think the more experience you have, that helps for sure.
Okay. Based on all your experience, working for different shops, was there anything you promised yourself, this is something I'll make sure that First Class Tattoos never experiences or no artist that works in my shop experiences? And have you been able to hold that throughout? I think it's been 10 years since you opened your
And
shop. Wow.
yeah,
Yeah.
in 2 months they'll be 10 years. Yeah. I mean, when
Congrats.
I first opened, yes, I've had a clear vision and things that I wanted to be that way, but I think the industry in general is a little toxic and you cannot walk away from the things that go on with tattoo artists in the industry. And as much as I tried, but when I first opened, I wanted to do things differently and I did a lot of good things which people didn't see it as me doing something good for them. They just thought it's like, oh, this is by default. But it was me coming from an experience trying to make things
Yeah.
better. But I feel like in general, I focused a lot on building other people and helping people for many years. You learn, you live and you learn. And the more you learn, the more you see things, what's right, what's wrong. And I think it was a great time. Basically, all this stuff I've done to somebody was from an open heart. And I never regret
Yeah.
those things because anything in general, if it didn't kill you, it's an experience and
Yeah.
you learn from it, you become better, you see things differently.
I do believe the good we put out definitely comes back.
Oh, for sure.
So
Oh, it
just,
always comes back. Yeah, for sure.
yeah. Yeah. All right. Let's see if there is anything. You mentioned how, when you started versus now, there's like a lot of changes in you. So, what is one truth or quality that when you started versus now, you're really embodying it now, and your beginner artist self would be really surprised?
When I was doing stuff even 10 years ago, I was just in it. And then at a certain time, I came back and I started learning. And I think nonstop learning and educating yourself and learning from other artists in general, if it's fine art or watching somebody who did stuff who are not here that passed and reading their biography and learning how they became that way and try to understand why they did things a certain way. It's a good experience that changed my view, my perspective in the last few years. I think when I first opened a shop, I was just into a passion, but I didn't put time on. And at a certain time, when you try to grow, it's not about just growing with your art, it's growing with your mind as well. And that all comes from reading and realizing certain things, from personal experiences, from relationships, from educating yourself. I also see in a lot of people when they're putting something out there, it's dull, it doesn't have any depth in it. And it's because those people didn't have different experiences and didn't see the world versus somebody who had experiences but might be not as good as understanding the technicals, but they can put something extraordinary. That's why I say to anybody, even seeing the world and meeting different people and having different perspective of life shapes you and makes you better in the art and growing and doing things.
Right. So I know about photography, tattooing, and piano. Is there any other talent that we're not aware of?
I mean, playing the piano, I just learned when I was in middle school. I just do it for fun. Photography, I s- I learned photography when I was in college, and then I kind of put it on a shelf. Didn't do it until 2020. 2020, when it was nothing to do, I got into learning some techniques, rules of photos, and learning from the greatest. That was very interesting journey, and I do enjoy it. I think it helped me in a lot of ways.
Do you think there is a different part of your brain that gets accessed for each of these different skills? And is there a different kind of release or different process of creating?
I do think maybe there's a different parts of the brain that
Yeah.
go with different things, but I'm not sure. But sometimes I'll do things and I feel very exhausted, even if it's artistic things, but you'll feel physically exhausted. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, I mean, I think so too. I was just thinking for myself this question. I do think, for instance, if you're painting, I cannot even imagine the physical toll that tattooing would take. But I feel like when you paint, it's such a physical release. You feel like energy is transmuted from the body, versus when you write, you feel like energy gets transmuted from your mind. And it's like a mind release versus a physical release. So,
yeah, for sure.
yeah.
I mean, I love actually writing. I love to write, and I've written some stuff, and I used to write for a magazine. And last year, I was inspired by feeling and wrote some poetry.
If you're comfortable sending it over, I would love to read it.
It's in Russian.
Oh, great. Okay, never mind.
I have two or three in English, but in Russian it's much better.
I feel like English is not as expressive sometimes.
Probably. If I would grow up reading some Shakespeare or something, I think I would have been expressive. But
You can read now. You have, I
the
mean,
for sure. But you kind of develop your brain in a sense in that early age, whatever you read, whatever you learn. Middle school, stuff like that. So I think, and you know where I'm from, they push you to read some literature, which back then I did not understand anything. Like for me right now to read that, it's interesting. But when you're 13, 14 years old and reading about stuff you have no experience in life and you don't understand.
I kind of feel like using really regular, simple language and writing sometimes hits the hardest versus using any fancy verse or getting too deep with,
No, for
specific
sure.
language type. So, yeah,
Okay.
you should get back to writing, just putting it out there.
Listen, my goal and always been in the past to make a movie or maybe a few, and I hope I'll get there before I.
Sometimes you just need to declare this is happening and then it
Okay.
happens. So
All right, you'll see me at the Oscars in a few years. Okay.
awesome. I will put this clip out there then for sure. Like we predicted this.
Okay. Sounds good.
All right, before you go, is there anything that you would really want a new artist or someone who's just, feeling called towards art, if there's one single thing you can tell them to trust the path and stay the course, what would it be?
Sometimes it feels hard, like if you're doing art and even for tattooers, there've been certain parts of my life when I was making enough to pay my bills, but we're doing because it's a passion. We love it, can get a regular job and still keep doing the art. I've seen a lot of people that can be in a finance and photography is such a huge passion that one job is like a day job, 3 days a week, 4 days a week pays the bills, and another thing is a huge passion. Like there's a photographer, like a famous photographer, he's a commercial pilot and he flies the planes, but he's, in my opinion, one of the best photographers. And you cannot give up your passion because
Yeah.
you sharing your spirit, your soul with the world. The way you see the world, the way you see the life, you just expressing it. But the world we live in right now is definitely hard with the way we have to pay rent, we have to pay bills, and people have kids. And it's sometimes it's sad to see. I think you have to balance things, even if you need to make financial choices, financial decisions. I think the passion and doing something for yourself that makes you happy is very important. Otherwise, you're wasting your life basically. Because
Yeah.
I think we're meant to create. God Himself created humans as a creator, and our path is to create. But a lot of people go into self-destruction or being obsessed with physical things, with money, with um, things that they put around themselves. But in the end, what that gonna do to them? But I think the good, well balance is to find an edge in between from creating something and in the same time uh supporting yourself financially.
Yeah. Cool. That was amazing. I'm so grateful for doing this. Thank you so much.
No, thank you for calling into this.
I'm just grateful that you said yes and you were such a great guest.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.